Welcome to the rigging tutorial for Martin Audio's Wavefront Precision series. In this video we're going to take a look at the ground stack rigging procedure for the smallest product in the Martin Audio Wavefront Precision range, WPM. When ground stacking WPM, we recommend the use of the WPM outrig kit to ensure the stability of the array you intend to deploy is safe. On the outrig feet there are two positions, allowing to connect to an SXCF115 subwoofer or directly to a WPMSXGRIDT. When ground stacking WPM on its own without subwoofers, simply place the WPMSXGRIDT onto the surface of your stage or structure, connecting the rigging pin to the WPM outrig kit at the orange position on the grid. The WPMSXGRIDT combined with the WPM outrig kit allows you to stack up to 6 cabinets at maximum down tilt, up to 8 cabinets depending on the cabinet angle, and up to 6 cabinets above 2 SXCF115 subwoofers. WPM can be supplemented by Martin Audio SX subwoofers and is designed to integrate mechanically with the SXCF115 cardioid subwoofer. Fix the outrig feet to the bottom two front rigging positions of the SXCF115 subwoofer. Once connected, we can place the first sub complete with outrig kit onto the floor, ready to stack the next subwoofer above. Ensure the first subwoofer is level by adjusting the outrig feet as required. Stack the SXCF115 subwoofers so that the skid panels on the bottom of each cabinet slot into the top of each subwoofer below. SXCF115 subwoofers have 4 rigging points, 2 at the front with the rear points located 2/3 of the way down the cabinet. Remove the flying pins from their stow positions on the bottom subwoofer. Rotate the front link to line up the front pinhole position into the cabinet above. To connect the rear positions, raise the rear link arm up to the cabinet above, fixing the rigging pin into position on the subwoofer. Ensure all 4 rigging pins are connected correctly in position before continuing. Place the WPMSXGRIDT into position on top of the subwoofers. The WPMSXGRIDT has 4 rigging points to connect to an SXCF115 subwoofer. Remove the rigging pins from the front positions on the subwoofer. Rotate the subwoofer link arm up to the grid. Insert the rigging pin through the link arm at the orange position on the WPMSXGRIDT to secure the connection. Remove the green-red rigging pin from its stowed location and rotate the ground stack link for 180 degrees to the red position. Connect the green-red rigging pin at the red position to lock. This will become the front rigging points for the WPM cabinets above. Remove pin from the subwoofer and raise the rear link arm up to the orange position in the grid, inserting the subwoofer rigging pin into the orange position on the frame to lock. To begin rigging a ground stack WPM array, leave the flight case on its wheels and remove the flight case lids and larger coffin lid from the flight case base. Lift the array of 4 boxes and place them upright in the base of the flight case. This allows you to reach the front pins to separate and stack the cabinets individually. WPM has 3 rigging points, 2 at the front and 1 at the rear of the cabinet. We can disconnect the cabinet by removing the rigging pin from the transport angle position on the rear spine, ensuring the cabinet is held using the rear pocket handles. You can lift the cabinet down on top of the one below, allowing you to easily remove the drop link arm rigging pin below. Raise the rear drop link up to the cabinet and place the pin in the flag position on the spine. The rear of the cabinet is now disconnected. We can now remove the first cabinet from the top of a set of 4 stacked vertically in our flight case by disconnecting the 2 front link pins. We can now separate the top cabinet from the set of 4, allowing us to attach to the WPMSXGRIDT one at a time. Marry the front rigging positions on both sides of the WPM cabinet to the ground stack link arms, which is now fixed in position on the WPMSXGRIDT frame. Connect the rigging pins from each side of the WPM cabinet to lock in place. The WPMSXGRIDT has a series of coloured holes, each colour representing a range of aim angles that can be achieved when used with the WPM ground stack bar. Green positions allow for all aim angles from +4 to -10 degrees, and orange positions allow for all angles from -12 to -20 degrees. Users must ensure the ground stack bar is orientated and connected between the array and grid correctly. Images on the WPM ground stack bar show the correct orientation required to achieve the correct aim angle for the array. The orientation of the bar and the correct angle position in the WPMSXGRIDT spine is determined by the angle of the first WPM cabinet in the array. Your display file will show which hole to use to obtain the desired aim angle of the array. Fit the WPM Ground Stack bar into the central spine at the appropriate angle hole as suggested in your display project file. The ground stack bar always connects to the first cabinet at the flag position on the cabinet's rigging spine. The orientation of the bar and the correct hole in the frame will be determined by the angle of the first WPM cabinet in the array. Once the first cabinet is connected at the correct aim angle to the grid, we can connect our next cabinet to the array. Remove the front rigging pins from the next cabinet in the flight case. With one hand holding the cabinet via the pocket handle, remove the rear drop-down link pin connected to the cabinet below. Remove the cabinet from the flight case and place on top of the first cabinet in the array. Connect the front rigging pins in the front rigging positions between cabinets 1 and 2. To connect the rear points between the first two cabinets, simply raise the rear of the second cabinet up using the side or pocket handles found to the rear of the cabinet. Remove the rear rigging lock pin from the top of the rear rigging spine on the bottom cabinet in the array. Remove the angle pin from the second cabinet, allowing the drop link arm to drop into position, allowing you to insert the lock pin, securing the rear link position between the two cabinets on the rear rigging spine. Raise the top cabinet until you can connect the angle pin from the second cabinet at the correct angle as suggested in your display project file. This will now lock the two cabinets together, making the array rigid. Please follow the rigging process until all cabinets are connected as required. Once the array is complete, please ensure your cabling is connected to the array correctly from the top down based on the box resolution chosen, ensuring each circuit is connected as suggested in your display project file optimization. The rigging array is simply a reverse of the rigging process from before. First, remove the rear angle pin from the top cabinet, raising the cabinet up to 0.5 degrees and lock the pin in position ready for transportation. Remove the rear rigging pin from the drop-down link connection. Then remove the front rigging pins from the cabinet. You can now separate the cabinet from the array. For all additional cabinets, please repeat the process until all cabinets have been disconnected. When stacking the cabinets back into the flight case, ensure all the angles are at 0.5 degrees. This will allow the array to sit flat in the flight case, allowing them to transport correctly. To remove the WPMSXGRIDT, remove all 4 rigging pins from the orange positions on the grid. Rotate the subwoofer's front link arms back through 180 degrees into their stay position, placing the rigging pin in its position in front of the entire link arm. Remove the WPMSXGRIDT from the top of the SXCF115 cardioid subwoofer. We can now remove the rigging pin connections on the front and rear between the SXCF115 subwoofers. Lastly, remove the WPM outrig kit feet from the front positions of the bottom subwoofer. Ensure everything is packed away safely, ready for transportation.